Listen to this. A lucrative school contract is awarded to a Minnesota company, but a Fox 6 investigation exposed some questionable practices along the way.
Yeah, and lawmakers listened to us. And tonight, they're throwing out the old contract and they're starting over. Our Mike Lowe with the follow-up.
The story begins in the lunch line at Nicolet High School.
One with hot sauce.
A cafeteria without cash.
Thank you.
It's one of hundreds of schools across the state in which students, teachers, and administrators use a special software system to do almost everything, from buying lunch to tracking attendance to entering grades. It's a system designed by a Stevens Point-based company called Skyward, one of a handful of businesses around the country that make student information software. But Nicolet's $90,000 investment in Skyward was about to be thrown out the window.
I don't get why we need to have a single system for the whole state.
Elected officials in Madison decided all schools in the state needed to use the same software, so there could be uniform performance reports to measure achievement across Wisconsin.
To measure apples-to-apples comparison of student achievement across the state.
A bid process was opened to several companies. Skyward eventually lost the contract to a Minnesota-based company called Infinite Campus, prompting outrage from Skyward's CEO, directed right at Governor Scott Walker.
I don't think he could look me in the eye and say Wisconsin's open for business.
Would I prefer it to be a company from Wisconsin in this case? Absolutely. But that's not what the rules are.
But on closer examination, the rules were not followed. A Fox 6 investigation of the bids showed several irregularities. Open records requests showed that Infinite Campus was inexplicably and illegally allowed to modify the state requirements in its own bid, essentially writing its own ticket. Also, Fox 6 discovered that the state initially found Skyward to have won the bid process, but then rescored the bids to give the contract to Infinite Campus.
Skyward actually won the scoring by about 300 or 400 points. After the rescore happened, Skyward lost by over 1,400 points.
Businessman Mike Weber owns a company that warehouses data for Skyward. He says the evidence pointed to Department of Public Instruction Assistant Superintendent Kurt Kiefer.
Certainly, Kurt Kiefer had an agenda. He had a preferred vendor. When he didn't get his result the first time around, they rescored.
But after he watched our initial report, Anthony Marinick, the administrator for the Tri-County District in Plainfield, signed a sworn affidavit saying the bid was rigged.
When you did the piece on us before, you showed a picture of Kurt Kiefer, and when the superintendent from Tri-County saw that picture of Kurt Kiefer, it reminded him that Kurt Kiefer told him 2 years ago that there is no way Skyward was going to win this business.
Meantime, Skyward executives have been quietly making their case in meetings with state lawmakers at the Capitol, trying to convince them a grievous error had been made. State Senator Luther Olson was unconvinced. He pushed for a single vendor system and Wednesday voted to keep it that way.
I'm seeing sore losers saying, oh, we didn't win, so the game must be rigged. That's not the case at all.
But State Senator Mary Lozick and 13 other members of the Joint Finance Committee saw enough problems with the process that Wednesday they voted 14-2 to essentially throw out the Infinite Campus contract and open the student information system to multiple vendors again, which means Skyward will be able to do business in Wisconsin.
I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
In Madison, Mike Lowe, Fox 6 News.
How about that? The measure allowing multiple vendors to provide state software is going to now be in the final budget, and the entire legislature will be voting on that sometime in June.
Who makes the money in your family?
For a lot of you, the answer is Mom. Tonight, a bold